Greetings from Southern Yankee Homestead. This is your first time? Welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Well, we're going to be finally addressing one of the biggest issues of my Kubota, lighting. I could still be doing work outside if it wasn't for the fact that I can't see anything outside. It's especially bad behind me. Not really great in front of me, especially if you're working the loader, because it covers up the headlights. So we're going to be adding some light to the roll bar, forward and back, but we're not going to be doing it dumb. And let me explain what I mean by dumb. In theory, I could run a light bar here that is, if we got creative, we could go 30 inches. A light bar. But we're not going to do that. A 30-inch light bar has about 3,000 beam distance, 3,000 feet. We don't need 3,000 feet because, well, we don't need to see 3,000 feet. We're not doing, 3 miles per hour most of the time when I'm running this thing. Why put on more than I need? I just need to see better. So what I picked up, they had a sale at the local Tractor Supply, 20% off all Traveler stuff. So I went ahead and picked up a 7 1/4 inch light bar, and I picked up a set of pod lights, a 2-pack. This is rated for 1,280 feet beam distance. The light bar is rated for 908 feet. I also picked up 2 of the harness kits, and then I also got the wire splitter. I could go through this and make it so that I don't have to buy those, but it makes it a cleaner, easier installation with nice watertight connectors. I also purchased an additional item off of Amazon. I got some waterproof LED switches, 12 volt. Because, well, the tractor's outside, it gets used outside, it gets water on it. I don't want to have to deal with electrical problems. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to wire this up yet, but let me explain one little detail here. On the back passenger side, there is 2 connectors here, 12 volt. If these are like my BX, which I'm pretty sure it is, this is a constant 12 volts. So this would be like your cigarette lighter adapter, or your charge port, I guess they're calling it now. Well, I don't want them on anytime the tractor's on. I want to only turn them on when I want to turn them on. So we're going to go ahead and work under the dash with the electrical in there. We're going to try not to splice into anything, but I can't guarantee anything. So we're going to start, if I remember correctly, there is a Phillips head right up in here. And if I also remember correctly, I got to straighten out my front brush bar because, well, I don't think I can open the hood right now. Because I think I have screws I got to remove on the back side as well as that top one. This brush guard's good for a lot of things, but stopping brush isn't one of them. Yeah, we've shifted. I need to pull it this way. I don't think that did it. Oh, so close. All right. Actually, it's because that's bent. So let's go ahead and try to straighten that out. That is on the short list of stuff I want to also fix. These brush guards are good for grass, but as soon as you have, a tree, a log or something fall down, bends the crap out of them like nothing. welcome to farm life. Make shit work. Because right now, you need to pull this off so that we can get to the electrical behind it. So in order to loosen this up, we got to take this screw out. There's also another one hidden behind here. So we have to take this panel off as well, which that should only be held on by 1 or 2 screws down there. And then we do the same on this side. You got 1 screw there and 1 screw there, and this whole panel should just pop right out so that we can get to the 2 screws that hold the 4 screws that hold this on. Did you catch all that? Clear as mud. Using a scribe and a scalpel, I was able to pull this out of the block. So basically I was able to get in there from the front side and push this little tab down right here to get that to come out of the socket. So all I'm going to do now, nice set of diagonal cutters. I'm just going to go up here near where they're crimped in, soldered together, and snip that wire, because we're going to pull that power from elsewhere. Before I put that back in, so here we go, big chunk of red. I'm not going to need that much. I know. Use a heat gun. That cool, and while we're at it, take that one. Just gonna, because we're not going to use it. I'm going to go down here, since it's the red one. Not going to use it. We're going to use other wire. So, that all cooled off. Doesn't take long. Which way are we going here? Tabs that way. Slide it back up in. Positive connection. Turn our relay the correct orientation. There. Alright, so let's find out how much line I have here. I think we got a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be enough to route it the way I want, though. Then we can test the thing. I got all the wires routed. Well, all the wires routed back to the roll cage. So I followed that line down there. That keeps me out of all these linkages here. And then I ran down along the wire loom that goes through there, up into here, steering clear of all these linkages. Then I cut down here and came up inside the roll bar. Using a fiberglass fish rod, I ran the lines up inside the roll bar. And that's when I found out I'm going to be a little bit short. So we're going to have to cut these and splice in section to lengthen them. But before I splice in a section to lengthen them, I want to go ahead and mount my lights so that I'll know where and how much to lengthen them. I think Kubota is nice enough that we have this hole right here in the center. So this is 35, 17 and a half. Yeah, that's Kubota put this nice little hole here. That's our center. That's what we're going off of. Yeah, it's gonna line up pretty good. All right, let me find some screws first. Ooh, I might have to get some lights out. It's a little dark in here. A set of lights that are failing. Anyhow, all right, so I took the bracket off. We're just gonna go ahead and do a really good eyeball on it. We're going to have plenty of adjustability because I don't have the right size screw for this. But I have a workaround. Give this some comfort. What do you think? Oh yeah, that's so much better. Oh hey, and the light started working. All right. So we're going to go on our mark. Took a couple fender washers and drilled them out with the uni bit. Not ideal, I know. But for this application, more than sufficient. Process. 7/8. I need to make a hole, so fix it later. All right, I yanked the connectors off it, so we're gonna go ahead and feed her through. Pass that one. There we go. There we go. 2 down, 1 to go. Thing is, this one only goes that far. Thought I'd show you what I did. So I have this piece of wire that was the same gauge from a, well, it was Project Cheap Jeep. There were some lights that were on there previously that we didn't use. So I took and staggered my splices after removing the connector I'm going to reuse. And I used the crimpable heat shrink. Then I'm also going to take a piece of heat shrink and I'm going to go over both of these. One, that'll be a strain relief. 2, it'll help seal it some. Of course, my lighter died in the process, so we're using the good old-fashioned BIC-1000. Some of you aircraft people might recognize that. If you're not in aviation, then you don't know what I'm talking about. In aviation, we had a specific heating unit for doing heat shrink. Well, depending on how cold out, and if you were trying to work on the flight line, that heating unit wouldn't produce enough heat to melt cheese, let alone shrink something. So it was not uncommon, find a smoker, break out a Bic, and use that on the aircraft. It's one of the many reasons why I really don't like to fly. Work on aircraft, they say. It's a good career opportunity when you get out. Yeah, it's also a killer when you want to go for a flight. You know, somewhere on that aircraft, someone of questionable moral values. I'm going to shut up now. And because this is a tractor and it's going to be vibrating around, we're going to go ahead and put a layer of electrical tape on this, just as an additional anti-vibration slash resistance to going through insulation, so that we don't have any problems anytime soon. And those of you that use electrical tape for waterproofing, it doesn't work. Water will get right through electrical tape. Now, red on red, black on black. Oh, it's still there. There we go. Don't know if it'll work because they're kind of thin, but I got some rubber grommets. I'm going to put rubber grommets over this to hopefully cut down on any potential chafing and possibly water intrusion, although water intrusion is secondary. Well, a couple days have passed. I got a little bit of work done on this last night. I didn't record any of it because I got out late and I was just trying to buzz through as much as possible. But as you can see, I have the lights mounted. I got all my wiring inside the ROPS. I just have to clean it up a little because it's sticking out a little bit further than I'd like. I mean, the way I would have preferred to do it is to actually just have the lights that I could wire directly in instead of having those big connectors on them. Then I could have just wired them in and just run a straight piece of wire right up to it and not had to worry about it. In the future, maybe I'll look into that in a future tractor or something else that I'm using these type lights for. But for this should work fine. We're going to have plenty of light forward and back, which plenty of light is better than what we had before. And if we don't have plenty of light, having a light, especially in the rear, will make a hell of a difference. While I was at it yesterday, you also noticed there's something missing here. The original wire that ran out to this light here, I went ahead, pulled that back and tucked it in, shielded it and extended it all the way up into here. This is going to be for our switches. Ultimately, this is going to be for the power for our relays. So basically I have the blue wire, which is going to feed power into the relay, activating it, pulling power from the battery and sending it to the lights. The black wire should be a ground, just so that this will light up when the power goes through it. Each one of these switches is rated for, I think, 40 amps each, but I don't want to run through the switches. I want to run through a relay. It's preferred method anyways. And if you're wondering why there's only one wire here, we're going to go ahead and make a jumper for these so that we can run both switches off the same wire. Along with that, if you remember our original switch, I went ahead and trimmed the wires on them. These were not the waterproof ones. I kept this one on here so I have an idea of which wires go to what terminals. It looks like the black goes to gold. I'm saying that to remind me for later. So actually, we might use that one as a jumper. I didn't want to splice into this wiring harness, so I just cut the wires. So to reattach them, and I didn't want to splice. So to reattach them, I just went up and got 16 to 14 gauge 3/16 male connectors. Now this style with this little hard plastic blue is completely worthless. So what I'm going to do is actually modify these to work in our application. So just using a set of needle nose to hold that pin, we're going to go ahead and grab these, give them a little twist. Okay, maybe a little bit more twist than that. Just trying to loosen up the plastic piece, which these are not working. Getting a better set of needle nose. I'm going to grab this right here, and what we want to do is just twist this, breaking it loose so that we can pull that crappy piece of plastic off, leaving just the connector. Then what I also did, actually I can probably set one up here. Let me pull this off real quick. Oh, and these were on here. There we go. So this is going to be long enough. We're gonna take our, well, we're gonna leave that wire here. We're gonna take this, which is our crimpers. So we got our wire here, which is significantly too long. We're gonna, well, actually no it's not, because we wanna have a little space there. So using our terminal lug, I'm going to go ahead and strip this back. We're going to take our short piece here, strip this back. I probably should have done this first, but we didn't, so put those together as close as possible. We're going to slip our sleeve. Actually, we're going to do what we're not supposed to do. We're going to go ahead and put them together and slip our sleeve down over. Slip that all the way down, so now we have that. I'm going to grab our piece here. Now this one, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. The end here has a split where they formed it at this side. So we're going to have that split is going to be opposite our dimple. If you don't know what the dimple is, this type of crimper closes when I don't want it to. So that would create a dimple, that wouldn't create a dimple. So we're going to put the dimple on the back side. Go ahead and slide this back up. There we go. And we're just going to put this in out of the way. Now, we should have enough here. Let me do this. I know, I just put that on there. Yeah, we're going to leave it like that because we need a little room to work. Okay, actually wanted to do that yesterday and couldn't. I guess that was something I didn't cover well yesterday, but I used a step drill to drill this out. I actually wanted to go one more on this one, so there we go. Because that one, oh, you dirty. There we go. Now with that open, Let's go like this. There we go. Go right on the bottom. Black on the top. Amen. All right, before I figure out which one goes to which, I need to go ahead and disconnect power so I can hitch up my power and ground. Hey, I think I had a crescent hammer around here somewhere, didn't I? 12. Yep. That's not bad. Well, with that, tractor's all set up. I got lights front and rear. Let me show you what I got here. So as far as the dash goes, since all my lights were over here, I went ahead and installed my switches here. Oops, that one's a little off. There we go. That's better. And that needs to be cleaned up a hair. But now the way I did it was the top one is going to be for the front. The bottom is going to be for the back. Then of course I got my headlights, 4-ways, and turn signals. So all my lights are right here. On this side is my control panel for the digital display up here. And then I have my third function toggle here. I guess I ought to clean up the wiring. Now, as far as why I ran the wiring the way I did, you use a tractor in the woods, you use a tractor, you get stuff that bangs up against it. I wanted to try to protect the wiring as much as possible. That's why I ran it inside the ROPS and dropped it out through. And obviously, I got to clean up the wiring a little, a couple zip ties. I'm not going to have you stick around for that. But with that, I should be able to work after dark now. At least a little bit, depending on what I'm doing. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.